Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark from Saw Gaming, and I'm reading an article here. It's called Xbox Scorpio versus PS4 Pro, which is the better console. Now, if you hadn't checked it already, my previous video to this one is literally the Xbox Scorpio and its specs, and had a little section how it presented itself against the PS4 Pro. I stated my opinion. I doubt it'll change, but if it does, you'll see it here in this video. This is an article from trustedreviews.com. Check them out. They have some competent reviews, and they're not bullshit. This article itself is done by Jordan King, posted April 18, 2017. So I'm a little late to this argument, but that's because at that day, I just started the channel. Alright, so we take a long look at the specifications of the PS4 Pro and the freshly spec'd Xbox Scorpio to see how they stack up. The PS4 Pro and Microsoft's upcoming Xbox Scorpio mark a notable shift on the console gaming industry, doing away with the idea of generations in our favor and iterable hardware model. At least that's what it looks like. Both machines will support all existing PS4 and Xbox One titles, while also adding on a few new features and hardware improvements. This blurring of the lines is something we'll be seeing plenty of in 2017, with Sony and Microsoft pushing their 4K flagships further than we've ever seen before. At this point, let's be very clear on the fact that these consoles are two completely different machines, and that they aren't going to end up fighting for the same turf. They fill different gaps in the market and almost certainly will be priced differently. With a side-by-side look at specs never did anybody any harm, did it? Now, I want to say one thing about Jordan's review on the subject, and that's I differ. I do not agree with what he just said. Of course they're going to be on the same fucking market. It's the console market. That's the only market there is, other than Nintendo when they're handhelds and shit. And now they're going into the console market and getting third-party games like Dark Souls 3. Now, when you take two consoles together, they're always going to be compared against each other. So to come out and say that is bullshit. Another thing is they're going to have the same AAA titles as well, and I honestly believe it's going to be a battle of the fanboys. PS4 Pro, in my opinion, would be a better console choice, because if you got the Xbox Scorpio, guess what? All of its exclusives will be on the PC too. So why not get a PC for a lower price and a better bug? Besides, you won't have to pay for online gaming anyway. I stated that in my last video, and I'm sticking to that. I don't know why anyone would choose an Xbox Scorpio when they have knowledge that the things that are being priced in the PC market are way cheaper, way more competent and usable, and you get to choose what's in your system. And the best part of it, it's all free once you launch your PC. You buy your games at half the price than the market would reveal, and you'd also buy your games at 25% of the price, full. You don't have to pay for online marketing, just like Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. And that's my point to it. There's really no reason to get a Project Scorpio if you have all that knowledge on the PC market. And if you don't, educate yourself. Save yourself $500. No, save yourself $300. Because that's where I think it's going to go. It's going to be $600 to $700. It's not going to be $500 because what they're listing here is ridiculous for that price. Moving on, PS4 Pro versus Project Scorpio, pricing and availability. This is another section in the same article, and it says, PS4 Pro is already out on the market, having launched in November 2016, retailing at $349.99. Sony's graded console is pretty good value considering the quality of its specs. Project Scorpio is scheduled to launch in the winter 2017, acting as a driving force for Microsoft's festive period. At E3 2017, we'll see Microsoft reveal extensive new details on the Project Scorpio, hopefully shining a light on its release date and launch games. Price? Your guess is as good as ours. We'd reckon at least $500. Considering the specifications, it would end up being more. However, Microsoft is not even hinting at this. It's simply speculation. Now, mind you, the prices that I spoke of are actually in the UK, so they're going to be a bit more expensive in the United States. Let's see. PS4 Pro versus Project Scorpio. These are the specs that I've listed in my other video, so feel free to check it out. And there's the graphics specs: 6 teraflops Xbox Scorpio, 12 gigabytes GDDR5, while the PS4 Pro holds 4.12 teraflops at 218 gigabytes per second and 8 gigabytes of DDR5. So I wouldn't put that on graphics only. That's literally random access memory and graphics. And the article states, first let's bust the jargon. Teraflop stands for trillion floating point operations per second, which is the simplest way of measuring graphical horsepower. Gigabytes per second is the bandwidth of that memory, which tells you how quickly the GPU can move frames through the memory and out of your TV monitor. The more memory, the more higher resolution textures and the GPU can access quickly at any one time, increasing performance. Alright, that's one thing they got wrong. Gigabytes per second, yes, that's the bandwidth of the memory, but that doesn't move frames, it moves the memory. The frames are created from the computer's, the frame rate would be created from the computer's processor, sent out to the from the motherboard out to the monitor. While the processor barely does anything, it's still doing something because it has to execute that task. It only comes out of the motherboard into the monitor as frames per second. That's what they got wrong there. They don't move frames inside the GPU. That's memory bandwidth. Okay, it also continues with the PS4 Pro processes 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 with an additional 1 gigabytes of RAM set aside for handling background processes. While the Scorpio nets a full 12 gigabytes of GDDR5, note both consoles will share their memory between the GPU and CPU, although how much each gets is unknown. Well, you just said it there. It's 12 and the other one's 8, you dumbass. As you might expect, the newer Scorpio has more better performing memory, which is why it's going to be able to put out some memory monstrous Ultra HD gaming performance when time comes. Okay. There's a difference between 218 gigabytes per second and 326 gigabytes per second. Yes, that's true. But that's the fucking graphics card. That's not the GDDR5 memory. It's the same. The graphics card have a bigger bus clock and a faster bus clock, which means it can push out more and it has more CUDA cores. That's why it's faster. It has nothing to do with the random access memory. Get your shit straight, guys. Come on. I take back everything I said about trusted reviews. They don't know any shit. They don't know shit about hardware. Now this is what I want to hear. They're gonna compare it in games. This is funny. If you're worried about being left behind with a new wave of consoles, don't be. PS4 Pro and Project Scorpio will support all existing PS4 and Xbox One titles, with some even benefiting from notable visual performance enhancements. Microsoft has also confirmed that Xbox One backwards compatibility will roll over to Project Scorpio. The service currently has more than 300 titles, which is nothing to sniff at. There will be no Scorpio exclusive titles with the exception of experiences that support certain virtual reality peripherals support, which still remains unconfirmed. Oh boy, so let's get this straight. This is what I noticed what's wrong with the Scorpio and its marketing. 99% of the time, people will buy a console for the exclusives and the superior enjoyment. How on earth is a Project Scorpio that you're going to pay more for superior to a personal computer where you have more freedoms, you don't have to pay for services, games usually cost less, and guess what? The Project Scorpio and Xbox One exclusives are on the PC market, for God's sakes. They made a really stupid decision. When you just sell to put everything that sells your flagship, other than the fucking console itself, into a console, onto a service that you have to pay for, why on earth would someone choose your service? Because it virtually has nothing on it. It has everything the PC could have. The only thing the PC doesn't have are the PS4 exclusives. That's why people buy PS4s. Not only because they're afraid of PCs, trust me they are, but because the PS4 has some badass exclusives. Again, the Xbox One and the Xbox Scorpio won't. They're not exclusives. They're on the PC, for God's sakes. In order to sell this console correctly, you need to take back your exclusives, and you need to make it exclusive. It's not exclusive. They call them exclusives, but they're not exclusives. They're just not for the PS4. Alright. There will be no exclusive titles, literally, with the exception of experiences. I can't believe what they just said there. They really think this is going to work out for them. Alright. All Xbox One games will run better on Xbox Scorpio. No shit. Whether or not they've been specifically updated to do so. You'll be able to play Xbox Scorpio games at full HD too, and you'll get the choice to whether or not you want to downscale from Ultra HD resolution for ultra sharp graphics, or simply run games at 1080p or for better performance. This is notably different for the PS4 Pro, which is a habit of hiding these settings from the user unless they're specifically opted to run their console full HD only. Okay. They just lied to you twice. The first thing is, when you play the PS4 Pro and a game is supported by it, it's flashing in your fucking face when you open up the menu. It's like saying I can't even get to the power button. You have to be a retard not to find that. It's going to be flashing in your face. It's one of the biggest features for PlayStation Pro. At least whenever my friend turns it on, I see that shit flashing on the screen. Says, "You want to go to Pro mode?" He goes to Pro mode. He flicks it on in the settings, and bam, he's in PlayStation Pro mode. It's easy as pie, and I don't think anyone's that dumb to fall for it. The second thing they lied to you about was the fact of the matter that whenever you play the Xbox Scorpio and it runs a game better than the Xbox One or the 360, if you're playing them online, like Xbox One gamers are playing 360 gamers online, they said it performs better. Okay, let's take this into context. What happens when you have a PC and you're playing a shooter like Battlefield or Call of Duty, and you got someone who's got it playing at 30 frames, low settings, because their computer can only handle that, and you're playing 244 frames at a higher resolution with high-ass settings. You're going to destroy that kid because you're seeing him faster. You're seeing more frames, which entail more details. You can see him from a further distance because there's more detail to it. You're going to have an unfair advantage over anyone who does not have the Xbox Scorpio, is what I'm saying. And people with the Xbox Scorpio would be equal to you. But if they entailed that to multiplayer experiences, that's what I worry about. I was worried about the PS4 Pro doing that too, but guess what? They got their shit on hand. They said we'll only play it as good as the PS4 when it's on multiplayer, so that no one will have an unfair advantage. But they're not talking about this whatsoever. They're not talking about it. That's what I'm worried about. And until then, I'm just going to say they lied to you, because they're not taking anything in precautionary. They're just showing off their power. It's like a big dick swinging contest, and they're trying so hard to win and be the biggest John. Moving on, PS4 Pro versus Project Scorpio conclusion. This is what they want to say to the very end. Oh boy, let's read this. Since launching several months ago, and the PS4 Pro has come into its own and an assortment of improved specs and the newly implemented boost mode introduced in PS4 Update 4.50. This new feature amps up the performance of all PS4 games to varying degrees, enhancing some titles almost 40%. It's the best PS4 iteration on the market today, although it's not entirely worth it once without a 4K display. Okay. For one, it actually is, because it's boosting performance. You may not see 4K. You won't see the resolution, but you'll see the extra frames and the better performance. That's for damn sure. There's a difference between cosmetics and performance. I'd say that's worth it. Okay, now their conclusion on Project Scorpio. Project Scorpio is still several months away, but Microsoft clearly has some ambitious plans in the pipeline with new features. An IP yet to be announced for the console. We know that Xbox Scorpio is more powerful than the PS4 Pro and will likely become the new 4K console benchmark, but with its price likely in the region of $500 and the rest, it won't appeal to everybody. Boom. They even confess to it. As biased as this article is, they don't even confess to it that it's a good choice compared to it, because for one, when they say exclusives, they didn't list any that will only be for the the Xbox Scorpio. They didn't. And remember, when they say 500, it's really 614 in American dollars, because that's a different country's fucking currency. It's gonna be higher in U.S. dollars. That's literally UK's currency right there. Quib and crown. I forgot which ones. No, I got confused. But you can look at the article if you want. I got it listed down below in the description. Check it out. But before that, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to help us. We're growing quickly, and I'm happy about that. We're not even a week old, and we're getting a lot of subs at a slow and steady pace. So be sure to subscribe and keep checking back for more gaming news. Thank you for watching. This has been Mark from Saw Gaming.